Okay. And we are good. So, anyone watching, thank you for joining. This is the Thwip Media and Marvel Mad live stream, our second one. This time we are going to be talking about the X-Men and a little chat about Loki Season 2, Episode 4, and some Deadpool 3 news that recently came out. So I'm excited to touch about that. But we have Dwayne from Marvel Mad. How are you doing?
I'm all good, my friend. Interesting to get into this chat again, as always.
Very nice. So I don't know if you want to hop into it right away, but I've got my notes ready.
Yeah, I'm all good to go, my friend. So I'll let you take it away.
So the X-Men are my favorite Marvel team. It's a shame they haven't really had the same level of great movies the Avengers have had in the MCU. I do enjoy some of them. There are a lot of problems with them, but I know this is a hot take for you, but X-Men First Class and Days of Future Past are the best movies, in my opinion, just for the team movies. And then Logan is obviously the best for me for the solo movies, with Deadpool being a really close second. And I can't wait to see all of them come to the MCU.
Definitely.
So for me, I have 3 parts to this. So I'm curious to see what your thoughts are on this first part as well. So I thought it'd be cool to kind of talk about what our ideal lineup for the team would be. So this is the rules I have for this. So you get 10 members. Professor X is not included.
I'm so glad you said 10. I'm so glad you said 10 because I've got 10 down straight away.
Nice. Okay, so you get 10. Professor X is not included because he's leading them in the background. He's not actually there. So do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
I'll let you go first, my friend.
Okay, so obviously number 1, you have Cyclops as the on-field leader. He's the one. He's basically like the Captain America of the team. He has to lead them. Number 2, you have Wolverine, obviously. Number 3, you have Colossus. Number 4, Nightcrawler. And I think the 3 of them always have to go together. You have the brute force with Colossus. You have the just unleashed power with Wolverine. And you have Nightcrawler, who can teleport them anywhere. And the 3 of them are my favorite trio, I think, in the Marvel universe. So after Nightcrawler, you get Storm.
Yeah.
Then Rogue.
Yeah.
Beast. And then Gambit, which I thought would be cool.
That's something I want to pick up on, actually, because I'm a big fan of Gambit myself.
Yeah, and then Bishop and Psylocke.
Oh,
so I think all of those powers combined would be a force to be reckoned with for any battle. I didn't have a villain they're going up against. I just said these members are my ideal lineup for the X-Men team. And obviously, this is not the team that's going to be introduced first in the MCU. It's obviously going to be very different. But if they could evolve to that point, I think that would be really cool. So,
massively.
That's my pick.
That's your turn, right? But I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them exactly the same. So obviously, Wolverine, Gambit, Cyclops, Bishop, Storm, Rogue, exactly the same. They are one of the perfect sort of lot. In my case, in my opinion, them 6 ideal sort of thing. And then the other 4 sort of thing, 6, 7, 8, yeah. The other 4 that I've always had a big fondness for these sort of things through games or comics, and obviously the original trilogy I was more of a fan of. So my 7, 8, 9, and 10, Jean Grey, because it just feels like if you've got Cyclops, you've always got to have Jean Grey and myself and that lot. Their combination, the love triangle between Wolverine as well and that lot, just always has to be there, sort of thing, in my opinion. And then you've got Iceman and Angel.
Mm-hmm.
Again, just having that collective and that lot sort of thing. just always works for me and everything. I've always been a big fan of Angel, and especially when he got turned by Apocalypse to Archangel and everything like that. Just loved that sort of thing. And then the last one, I think this is mainly because of the cartoons. Now I had her as a big favourite in my cartoons that like. I know she couldn't do much, but it was sort of like, how can I put it? That the child you've always got to look after, but she's got a fighting spirit, and that's Jubilee. I've always been a big fan of Jubilee and that sort of thing, and I think that sort of 10 for me, if they could evolve into that as a good 10 on my side, I'd be well happy with that. Obviously, it's going to take you 2-3 films to get to that sort of point, but that sort of 10 for me, I'll still be a perfect 10 for myself.
Yeah, I think that's a more logical one that they'd actually go with in the movies.
Oh, okay.
When
Okay.
you have the core members, you have Cyclops, Jean Grey, Iceman, Angel. Did you say Beast?
No, I didn't say that. I left Beast
Okay.
out because I didn't mind Beast, but I more preferred him in the cartoons and comics. In the films, I couldn't stand him. I just no, but I didn't see the appeal of having him. He was probably good later on down the line, but at first, I sort of that perfect 10 for me. Now I didn't have him myself.
The reason I had Beast in there as well is because I think him and Nightcrawler would be a really cool duo. Like they're both very acrobatic, and they they're very fast, agile. So I feel like both of them could, work very well together.
Well,
This is purely based on like my knowledge of the characters. This isn't like just like the movie versions of these characters.
Yeah.
This is just the characters in general for me.
Yeah. Well, I said I had before obviously we come on the show and everything. I had a very in-depth discussion at work about these 10 for me, and one of the lads at work was a very big favourite of having Nightcrawler and Beast and that lot, and yeah, we had a very big discussion about that.
Yeah, the ones I really wanted to make sure to include were Bishop, because I think he's a really underrated X-Men character.
Exactly why I put him as in now, because I just think I know because he's obviously Cyclops' son, isn't he, from the future and everything?
That's Cable.
Oh, is that our Cable?
Yeah.
So what's Bishop?
But Bishop's also from the future too, though.
Yeah, Bishop's from the future now, but I thought he had some more connection there, sort of thing. But yeah, just having Bishop there now, he's not somebody that's going to always go to the authority, and similar to Wolverine, if he needs something dirty doing, he'll do the dirty job, sort of thing.
Yeah, and then I did originally have Iceman, but I replaced him with Psylocke because Psylocke's much more powerful than Iceman is. And I think having Psylocke be included in that team, she hasn't really been included in many lineups in the comics or anything. So I thought it would be nice to include her in this.
Yeah. That's fair enough. That was understandable there.
All right. So for my second part, I'm going to share my screen for something. So in my personal time, I don't know if you've seen it, but I have a Behance profile where I put like some portfolio work on things I've done for both school and for hobby. So in my free time, I created an X-Men arc, like for the MCU. So I can share my screen for that. Okay. So this is what I had. I'll just quickly read through this. So
the
X-Men, this specific X-Men has been a big personal project of mine, where I've taken one of my most favorite groups of characters in any medium and given them their own cinematic arc. And this, in my mind, would be the perfect way to adapt them for the MCU. This entire thing took me around a month to conceptualize, design, and then release it.
Brilliant.
So I took all my knowledge of these characters and the iconic comic arcs that they went through, and I narrowed it down to this for what I believe they could adapt. And throughout the entire process, I had one question going through my head, which was, what would attract fans of not only the X-Men, but also just superhero fans who have been dying to see these iconic stories adapted in an uncanny way?
That's nice. That's nice. Nice little touch there, like that.
And then I said there would obviously be solo films mixed in between the team up
Yeah.
movies, like the MCU has done, like throughout the entire time they've been around. Um, I could do some concepts for those, maybe at another time, but
Yeah,
for
I'll be
me,
well up for that.
these movies would be spaced out between the other MCU projects, and this would be after the multiverse saga, in my mind. For at the time, that's what I believed was going to happen, but we can talk about that for my next part that I'm going to talk about, with
Yeah.
mutants being the main focus after the multiverse saga. So for the first movie, I have just plain X-Men.
Yeah.
And the synopsis for this would be like, this is the first X-Men movie. The team is Cyclops, Jean Grey, Iceman, Beast, and Angel. So it's the original 5.
Yeah.
Um, and they will face off against Magneto and his brotherhood of mutants who are resisting the oppression of human authority over mutants. So, it's a very like simple X-Men story. It's the first original team. You don't have Wolverine in there, but people are still going to want to see it regardless if
Yeah.
it's still
Would
the
you-
original X-Men.
When you think about when the X-Men first come out back in the day, and that, like, they never had Wolverine. It took them quite a while to come in anyway, sort of things. Having that as
Yeah.
just the core lineup, that'd be really good, to be honest. That would be, and that going up against obviously the Brotherhood of Mutants and stuff like that, I think that'd be really nice and everything. Seeing how Magneto was portrayed in the MCU, something I can't wait for.
Yeah, I think this would be the logical first step because Magneto's obviously their most popular villain, but he's also the one in a way that kind of pushes Charles to expand the team over time, because Magneto keeps building up his Brotherhood of Mutants over time as well. So Charles needs to kind of build his team in the same way.
Like always
So
pitting up against each other, trying to one up each other, sort of thing.
Yeah. So for the second movie, I have the Uncanny X-Men, which I think this would be really cool. So the synopsis for this would be, obviously the team expands. You have the addition of Wolverine, Storm, Colossus, Nightcrawler, Rogue, and Thunderbird. And the team will face off against Mr. Sinister and his Marauders, who are kidnapping the mutants for his experiments. And I also say Mr. Sinister will return in future films.
Oh, that'd be very clever. And again, Mr. Sinister, I have absolutely loved Mr. Sinister. Like, he's one of again, I think he's very underrated now because you don't really see him. Like, you see him quite a lot in the cartoons and stuff, and obviously in the comics as well. But I've always only known him properly from the cartoons and everything, and I just adored him, sort of thing. It's just, I had figures of him and how he's like, I don't know, his face and just menacing. Oh, such a good character. Such a good character, outlaw.
Yeah, so I thought, and this is one that people have really been wanting to see in the movies, and they have teased him. They teased him at the end of X-Men Apocalypse with
oh, did they? Okay.
Essex Corporation or whatever being shown, because his real name is Nathaniel Essex or something like that. And then he was originally supposed to be in the New Mutants as well.
Oh,
I think he was the one running that facility that the mutants were being held in originally. But that movie went through development hell, so that was obviously cut.
That's another one. I think it's on Disney Plus now, and I've not watched it. I
Same.
can't put myself through it.
Yeah. So yeah, the team expansion, I think, was obvious. It has to happen.
Yeah.
And it's the exact same lineup from Giant Size X-Men #1, where like it's the new team. It's exactly those members. I thought that would be really cool to add.
Definitely.
So that's the second one. Number 3, X-Men Days of Future Past. So I think this is an obvious one for them to adapt. It's one of the most popular arcs for the comics. They're probably going to call it something else because they already have a movie called X-Men Days of Future Past, but I just called it that for you guys to know what the storyline adapted was. So the synopsis for this is: the X-Men face an enormous threat as they travel back in time to prevent a dystopian future where mutants are hunted down and killed by the relentless Sentinels. So in this, the team will be joined by Bishop, Gambit, and Kitty Pryde. So obviously Bishop would be the time travel aspect to this. It's the same team from the Uncanny X-Men. So it's still the original 5 with the addition of the Uncanny team. So it's a much larger team, and people are still being added to this.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a logical step for that.
That would be good and everything. I got to admit that you always have faith in the MCU and Marvel and Disney in general to adapt something and make it better, sort of thing. So if they could adapt that storyline and just make it much, much better, yeah, I'd be well up for that.
Yeah, and I think Kitty Pryde coming into it too would be really cool, because her and Wolverine have that kind of, it's like kind of a father-daughter kind of vibe between them. So Wolverine could kind of get that kind of, like, he's obviously in the second one, he's going to be more of like the tough guy. He's going to be super like, like out of it. And in this one, when he has that daughter figure come into it, he's going to become more, I guess, sympathetic for the other mutants in a way. So I thought that would be cool to see his character evolve over the other movies as well.
Because that's something in the old films you've not really seen, not probably until Logan anyway. The way he doesn't feel like he's evolved much in any of the sort of films, Wolverine himself. But then you see him in Logan, where he does have that evolution process, even just during the film as well, sort of thing. So
you kind of see him have that kind of relationship with Rogue in the original movies.
Yeah, but
because they were together from the beginning.
Yeah.
So they kind of have that over the course of that trilogy, but it's definitely not going to be as strong as the Kitty Pryde whole friendship, because they even have their own miniseries in the comics where they're working together, which is actually really
I never knew that. Okay.
It takes place when Wolverine goes back to Japan or something like that. It's really cool.
Right. Oh, that's interesting. I never noticed that.
So movie 4, X-Men Phoenix War. So I think this could be really cool. Every single movie they've done has failed the Phoenix storyline.
Yeah.
So they have to nail this, or people are just going to say, you know what, we're done with Phoenix. We're not going to do this anymore, because it never works. So I think if they nailed this, that gives people more faith in, I guess, Marvel Studios in adapting these storylines. Because Phoenix War is a super iconic arc from the comics, and it's a real shame that it hasn't been adapted in a really good way in the movies. So the synopsis for this is Jean Grey, who has been struggling with her powers, is possessed by the Phoenix Force, and she becomes a danger to the entire planet and even the entire universe. So the team must deal with the moral dilemma of saving one of their own or saving the entire universe. And this movie introduces the Shi'ar Empire, who want to put an end to the Phoenix Force. So obviously the Shi'ar Empire have a really big role in the Phoenix storyline in the comics. I think it would be really cool to see them kind of introduced in the same way the Kree and the Skrulls were in the MCU. Kind of being that extraterrestrial race for the X-Men to deal with. And then you could kind of get Charles's relationship with, is it the Empress?
Yeah, I was just saying, where's the Empress?
Yeah, so you could get that in this too. And obviously, I don't think things are going to go well for Jean Grey in this movie if they do this.
As I said, that is one of the points I put down as well, that the MCU, I know it's been tried and tested so many times with Fox and stuff, but the MCU have got to do this saga. They've just got to do it, sort of thing. And if they can smash this one out of the park, there's no going back. They know that they've got the amazing storytelling and tools to do it. But yeah, this is the one of the ones I've put down that they need to do. Got to.
Yeah. And I think this could be, in a way, the civil war for the X-Men. They have that very intense, and it's the moral dilemma of the team. They have to choose between a member that they've had since the beginning or all of life in the universe. And Cyclops then has to deal with the loss of Jean Grey at the end.
Yep.
So I think that would be cool.
Definitely.
So movie number 5, X-Men Mutant Genesis. So I thought this would be a cool idea. So this, before I read the synopsis, is the setup. This, in a way, is like the Infinity War for the X-Men movies. So it's called X-Men Mutant Genesis. The synopsis: the X-Men face off against the villainous Apocalypse, who wants to create a new world order with him in complete control over everything. Only the Supreme Mutant can rule all. Apocalypse assembles his Horsemen of the Apocalypse as the X-Men, New Mutants, and X-Force unite to create a plan of attack. Magneto takes the stage as a secondary villain who also warns Charles and the team of the imminent danger. The team is joined by Havoc, Magic, and Cable.
Oh, that'd be a nice selection coming in that late sort of thing as well. That'd be really nice.
Yeah, so I think Magic coming into it would be cool because you already have Colossus and their siblings, and Magic is also a really underrated X-Men character as well. Having Cable come into it just before Apocalypse, I think works really well because he would obviously be like a leader in the post-apocalyptic world that when Apocalypse takes over. And having Havoc in there, I thought would just be cool too because he's an iconic X-Men character, and I thought he was okay in the Fox movies. He wasn't great, but
he was he was one that I was toying with between Jubilee and Havoc sort of thing in my top 10 because I was like, I didn't mind Havoc and I had quite a nice relationship with the other X-Men and stuff, but I thought, no, I got to put my Jubilee in sort of thing.
Yeah. And the inspiration behind this is, so I obviously watched the X-Men, the animated series when I was younger, but I also watched the animated series X-Men Evolution.
Okay.
And at the end of that, I believe it's the end, Apocalypse is introduced, and Magneto is the one to say, you guys need to be ready. The strongest mutant ever is coming, and you guys aren't prepared. You need to get ready right now. And Apocalypse ends up killing Magneto. So I think Magneto playing that role of, he's the messenger for the arrival of Apocalypse, but he's still a villain to them, is going to be a cool idea.
So, that would be quite interesting, I got to admit. I'd say Apocalypse, again, in game form and comic form and like not really so much movie form, but the other two, he's quite an intimidating sort of character and just somebody you don't want to mess with sort of thing. But how they portrayed him in the film was just, you can have cosplayers looking better than the actual
definitely
thing.
I've seen them.
That's what I mean. It's just so frustrating. So if they could do something like this and hit that out of the park as well, it'd be just as high up there with the Dark Phoenix and the Phoenix Saga and stuff.
Yeah. So this, in my mind, would be the Infinity War to this X-Men arc. So the final movie, obviously, is going to be X-Men Age of Apocalypse. So the synopsis for this: the final movie sees the X-Men take on the Supreme Mutant and the greatest challenge yet, Apocalypse. The villain has taken over the world where only the strongest survive. What's left of the X-Men must unite to defeat him and restore the world that once was. So obviously a lot of them are going to die in Mutant Genesis. And what's left is going to have to, well, they'll die or they'll become servants of Apocalypse, like in the comics, where they work for him. So some of them are going to resist that and be like a resistance against Apocalypse. They're going to have their own team and trying to overthrow him. So obviously, I think Cable and Wolverine would be the two I'd really want to survive and build their kind of team of mutants to overthrow Apocalypse. What are your thoughts on that?
That would be just absolutely, because you'd think that at least half of the original X-Men lot would either perish or obviously go to be worked with Apocalypse, that sort of thing. Because I think in the comics like that, quite a few of them like turned.
Yeah, I know.
That sort of thing.
I actually think Magneto did work for Apocalypse. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
so
sure.
I swear Magneto did, but I swear quite a few of them turned to his side now.
Yeah.
But it'll be such an amazing one, just especially to have that as the Endgame Infinity War mumbo jumbo sort of bang at the end. That'd be so good now, sort of thing.
Yeah,
Again,
because
if
after this, sorry, go ahead.
no, go on. Sorry.
At the end of this would be like the X-Men team will never be the same after this.
No.
So it kind of paves the way for the next generation, but it also could be the satisfying end for the team that we've had since the very beginning.
Oh yeah, massive. Because if you could end it with like something like this, you'd have that definitive full stop. This is it. This is the big send off they all deserve and needed sort of thing from the other films and stuff like that. So you can get someone like this, it'd be just perfect. It'd be so nice.
Yeah, so that's the finale for the X-Men arc that I came up with. I can put the link to this in the description of the stream,
definitely.
so anyone can check it out.
But
But
I'd love to have I'd love to have a look at that sort of thing, because that sort of section stuff you've done, absolutely perfect. That sort of thing. The only other thing that I'd say for myself, a storyline wise, I'd love for them to see would tying back to films they've got originally at the moment anyway now, is just the Avengers versus X-Men saga sort of thing, because I absolutely adored that saga, and I've never seen so much carnage sort of thing towards the X-Men, how powerful towards the Avengers and how powerful the X-Men are. It's just such a good thing, that lot.
So obviously, like one of my favorites, the one thing I want to see in the movies, I'll see if I can find it quick. Oh, I know it's really close around here. Is something here? This Spider-Man and Wolverine together. Obviously, like they're on two different teams, but I want to see it really bad.
Yeah, that would be so good now, sort of thing. And just that storyline in general is just such a good storyline, and having that to me, I always thought that when they do eventually bring the X-Men into it, that'd be like at the end sort of thing, as like the go-to thing. Like you got like your Civil War and Kang Dynasty. That's what I had in my head would be the Avengers versus X-Men. That would be the big ultimate film thing at the end, because I think that would be such a good bleeding thing. And that you'd have to split that up into two as well, because
definitely
so much happens in that saga. Jesus, wept to be good.
Because obviously you get the Phoenix 5 out of that, where Cyclops and Emma Frost, Colossus, Magic, like they're all corrupted by the Phoenix Force, and
Namor's gets corrupted.
Yeah, Namor's in that too. I think that was it.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah. But yeah, that honestly, just seeing how them be so corrupted by that Phoenix Force power would just be like, oh, so good now. I'd be well happy with that.
Yeah. So my third section to my notes, and then we'll go over to yours, are my desires for the X-Men in the MCU. So I already showed my personal franchise that I would personally create if I was Kevin Feige. Like, who wouldn't want to do that?
Yeah, exactly.
So I really hope they introduce them in a logical way that isn't like the Eternals.
Yeah.
Because the Eternals, they were already there. And in my opinion, they didn't give enough time for each of those characters to develop in that movie.
No, not.
And also the fact you say they've been there the entire time, but they haven't helped in any way. There's no way you can do that with the X-Men. You can't say they just sat in the mansion while Infinity War was happening, while Loki invaded New York, while Ultron was happening. You can't do that. So you have to introduce them in a way where they're either in an alternate universe, or the mutants are just being created after the fact.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
You can't have that where they're just like, oh yeah, they were there. They didn't like show up, but they were there. Sorry, I just see some comments coming in
Oh,
now. We have a viewer. Russian comic book geek Thwip Studio is awesome. Thank you very much.
definitely
Love
is.
your
Definitely
motion
is.
comics. I haven't done motion comics, but I did do that Doctor Doom thing. So if that's what you're referring to, I appreciate it. So yeah, introduce them properly. Don't do it like Eternals. You can't do that. And Feige has to have learned from that from Eternals. That was a major complaint about that movie.
Oh, massively, massively. With how they got introduced, and I think, to be honest, the team was too big. You had too many of them. You didn't know who was who, what was going off. It's just no. The Eternal films itself were just no. It was just trash to me in that law. And
I thought it was okay, but
no. Honestly, it was just so wrong and that lot sort of thing. It was just not my sort of film at all. I was so angry with it. But yeah, if they could, like we said, that original 5 core group, just a nice little round number, like similar to the Avengers Age, like a nice sort of little number. You gradually bring them in slowly as the film's going on.
yeah,
It'd be so good and so much better, sort of thing. And you've got to give them time to breathe. You can't just do an hour and a half film, 2 hour film like that. You need a good 2 to 2.5 hour film just to get them grow along, sort of thing, and get it going properly, sort of thing. Because if you rush it, it's just going to be shit. It's just going to be so atrocious like the other ones now.
Yeah, and this is easily their most important team, I think, in their catalog. So they have to nail it. Or
similar to with Fantastic Four with me, to be honest.
Yeah,
they're the two sort of teams. You've already nailed the Avengers, so you ain't got to worry about them. But with the Fantastic Four and X-Men, you've got to nail them teams because it's like the Marvel family sort of thing. You nail them 2 teams, you've literally got the trifecta just perfect, sort of thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, and then with Guardians of the Galaxy too.
Oh yeah. Sorry, yeah, as well. You get these groups right, just builds up and it's just perfect, sort of thing. It really is.
Yeah. So my next point in this is there's obviously an X-Men presence in Deadpool 3, which we're gonna get into later, and also Secret Wars. So I'm very excited for that. I'm interested to see how much they pull from the old movies and bring into those movies. I know for sure they're going to take some big leaps for that. I know Ryan Reynolds is probably the one campaigning for, hey, let's bring this random person back. Let's bring this guy back. And whether it's a 1-minute cameo or not, it would be really cool to see them come back. But yeah, I'm really excited for that.
Definitely. I say on my notes, you would probably pretty much talked through my notes during your section as well, sort of thing, because if they can, what I've seen like at the sets and what I've heard things about coming into Deadpool and that lot, I can't wait to just see what they bring in and how they take that forward to the rest of the mutants. I think that'd be so good in that lot, and I can't wait to see what they bring, because obviously Ryan Reynolds is going to be, he campaigned so long to get Deadpool right, so if he's in the Marvel Studios with Disney as well and that lot, he's going to be trying his hardest. He's already got Wolverine. Who else can he bring with him now? Because God me, it's going to be so damn good.
Yeah. And then my final point is the reboot for the MCU.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
Yeah, so there's rumors it could be happening with Secret Wars, how the events of this movie is going to completely reset the MCU in a new way with all the characters together. And could this be the better way to introduce them? In your opinion?
Yes, my opinion, definitely, yeah. Because if you're gonna like, not scratch everything off, but if you're going to get to the point where you need to bring new people in to play different characters and stuff, if you literally just like not decimate them, but just like rewrite everything like a what can I say? I know it's totally off brand for me, but like how they did with DC with Day One, sort of thing, and how they just literally rewrote everything, new people, new like storylines, new Origins and stuff like that.
Yeah. That was Crisis on Infinite Earths that did that for them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just remember in day one, see, it's DC. I'm not fussed. Yeah. But yeah, they did something like that, and then you bring in the X-Men like that sort of thing. It'd just be a perfect beginning, and then you could work your way to that Avengers vs X-Men one that I said something, or obviously your Age of Apocalypse. You could work your way to that, because then you ain't gonna have to have that stupid thing about, oh yeah, they've been there all along. They've just been like hiding out and just like been dealing with like petty crimes and stuff like that sort of thing. Yeah, don't worry about Apocalypse. Don't worry about Magneto. Yeah. They've just been milling about. Just, no.
Yeah.
You have this total rewrite, total reset, and then go from there. It'd be so good. I would be a bit disappointed if they didn't keep like maybe the odd one or two from like the MCU that they've got now, sort of thing, like the Daredevil. They're obviously redoing Born Again. Doctor Strange, maybe even Falcon's Captain America sort of thing, stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Keeping a select few, and then building it from there and making it literally a completely different thing. And then obviously having Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch as daughters of actual Magneto.
Yeah.
Not just some stupid
experiment.
Yeah, having something like that would be a lot better, sort of thing, in my opinion. Anyway, if they're going to reset it properly.
Yeah, I fully agree. Like, the only way I see them doing it in the current MCU is just you create mutants after the Infinity Saga. So how they just randomly pop up wouldn't make a ton of sense. I think if you have an established Marvel universe where you have all of them interacting together, they're like already established. In a way, you don't need like origin stories for all of them, because if they do the reboot, you don't need a origin story for Iron Man again. You don't really need one for Captain America. You don't need one for Spider-Man. You just have them, like, let's say their origin is on Sunday, we're seeing them on Thursday. They're just doing what they normally do. And that's how this universe is. You just pop right into the middle of it, and like they're already established. Now, obviously, they could do an origin for the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, because that hasn't been done by them yet.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
But some of the other characters, I don't think you really need to do that again.
No,
but if you
definitely not.
Yeah, so if you do the X-Men with that reboot, they can interact with the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, Defenders, Guardians of the Galaxy, all of them, and they can be a part of the events of Infinity War, Civil War, Secret Invasion. Do them properly. Secret Invasion properly has to be the thing that they do in this new universe with the X-Men and all of them.
Yeah, I tell you what, that could be it should have been, to me, it should have been a movie or a two-part movie on its own.
Yeah.
Because how much in that comic they could have done properly with the expanded teams and everything would have been just so much better. So much better. But they were just tied. And they just, no.
Yeah, so having them be a part of those events that we've already seen with just the Avengers, with all the other teams in the Marvel Universe, I think that would just add another level to that. And
you'd have layers and top of layers as well, sort of thing. Having more interactions with different people.
Yeah, and I'm a strong believer in the minute you do like the Infinity War movie with the Avengers, Fantastic Four, and X-Men, it's going to be the biggest movie of all time.
Oh yeah, easily. We thought that with the original, but you do that properly. My lord, having all them teams mingled together in that lot, the connections and the little snippets they have all between them, so good, properly done as well, properly done.
Yeah, so that's my notes on the X-Men for the MCU.
I literally talked through my notes with your bots as well, so I'm all happy with that. I was just
all good then. All right, so that's our X-Men portion, I guess. Do you want to move on to Loki season 2, episode 4?
Oh yes.
Okay. So massive cliffhanger on this episode. I was not expecting, obviously we have them trying to get Victor Timely to help them fix the temporal loom. And the minute he steps out of that door, he's Mr. Fantastic and Doctor Strange in the
It's
Multiverse of
literally what I
Madness.
said. Literally what I
Yeah.
said on the episode as well. Now. It's just that silly string. Oh my lord!
And that at that moment, I was like, "What?"
Yeah, exactly. I
And then
literally, when we was watching it, I was just like, "Hang on a minute, what's gonna happen now?" And then when
Yeah.
it just explodes,
like
and
you
you're
only
seeing
have
all
one
their
suit to do
faces.
that, so no one else
Yeah,
can go out there and do
yeah,
it.
exactly. Like,
But and then it shows all of them inside. They're all shocked, and then B-15's like, is this it? We're done? And then you see Loki's face, like that's the scariest you've ever seen him. And you see that shockwave when it explodes come towards the window, and that cut to black too, like you said in your episode, how they waited 5 or 10 seconds of just black screen, and then they went to the credits. You're just sitting there like, are they gonna show anything, or is this the time where we just like scream our heads off at what just happened?
Literally thought exactly the same, because honestly, when it just happened, I'm like, come on,
Yeah.
something, then nothing at all, and we were just like, what? I was saying to the lads, part of the channel, and you could just end the series there. Just do a 4-episode one. That's it. It's just, what's going to happen now, sort of thing. Because literally, I cannot think. I've tried to avoid that little trailer, mid-season trailer thing.
Yeah, I haven't seen
I'm
it either.
avoiding that. I'm avoiding that like the plague, because what they are going to do now is I ain't got a clue. I just have not got a clue. I'm at a loss. I literally am just at a loss. It's like, what are you going to do? Get to episode 5 and everything's just decimating. Just all these little smoking corpses over there and that lot.
Yeah, so this is my theory. And this was, I can pull it up here. So I saw this kind of diagram online for like the time loops that they talk about. Let's see if I can find it. So obviously, He Who Remains was in control of the sacred timeline. And the minute he was killed, everything exploded. And they talk about the time loops, how at some point, everything comes back to a certain point in the timeline.
Yeah.
So I'll share my screen again. Okay. So can we get some toast on Twitter? Found some pretty good information and made this diagram. So the straight line here, we have the sacred timeline. Yeah. Loki season 1 is this first loop. And at this point here, this is where he Who Remains says they crossed the threshold. So at this point, you can say he died, and this is where season 2 picks up. So it's a smaller loop. And then once you loop back up to here, this is the explosion. They jump back here, and now this bigger loop takes over.
Oh, right.
Because there is footage in the trailer where Loki is still time slipping that hasn't been shown yet. So I think this footage is because he's gone back, and now he's in another time loop with the fractured timeline still going on. So that's how I think it could be going.
I never would have thought of that. Never would have thought that. That would make sense, to be honest. Like I said, I thought when all that time slipping and stuff like that sort of thing, I didn't even twig that some of it's not actually been in the rest of the series. I just thought that time slipping stuff was literally just going to stick onto that first episode sort of thing. So I didn't even notice that it's not even been gone to anywhere else. But that would be really interesting out like that. I wouldn't even thought of that. That's nice.
Yeah, so there's a shot in the trailer where he's time slipping at a jet ski dealership. And you have to assume that's where Mobius is maybe.
Yeah, because they're always going about it, don't they? Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe Mobius works there. He walks into that building and Mobius is the one wanting to sell him a jet ski or something like that. Shit. I think he's going to have that realization where, wait, do you not remember what just happened to us? he's probably going to go, nope, no idea what you're talking about. I've never met you in my life. And he's going to have to go through that whole thing again.
Shit.
Yeah. So that's what I think could happen. And obviously, someone has to be pulling the strings of all of this, because He Who Remains died. The one pulling the strings has to want everything to come back to that moment where he's alive again and can continue doing his plan. And that has to be Kang the Conqueror in the prime form that has to carry over.
Fuck. I'd have never. Damn. That's nice.
That's what I think.
Like I said, myself, I ain't got a bleeding clue. So that would make a lot of sense. Like I said, I didn't even realize that he did time jump to the ski dealership like that. So, jet ski dealership. So I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, there's that, and then there's a shot of Sylvie with a book or something, and then there's actual like dialogue of, we don't know if it's Victor Timely, but it's Jonathan Major's voice, and he's saying, "Around and around we go." So I think that line ties in with the time loop. How he's controlling those time loops so he can come back and then carry on with his overall plan. Or it's the collective Immortus, Ramatut, and the Centurion that are the ones doing that too.
Damn, I've never even realized. Because is there a bit as well that now thinking back, was there a bit where he time slips to the McDonald's instead of just appearing there?
He might have. I can't think of off the top of my head if he did, but it's
swear,
possible.
Because I was just thinking, like, if he's going to time slip to these different places where they've been, surely he'd go to a McDonald's. I swear we see him time slipping to a McDonald's, because I'm presuming that's where Sylvie would probably be, because that's where she wanted to have a life and stuff like that sort of thing. So, damn.
No,
that's nice.
I'm not trying to set us up for disappointment if that doesn't happen later on, but that's just what I think could be happening. If this show is as important as it is, then it has to bring Kang back in some point. If they don't do that, then no one's going to want to see Kang Dynasty or Secret Wars.
Yeah, exactly. No. But that I would never have thought of that. That is nice. And having that same Kang, He Who Remains, that lot, him to be evolving into the Kang the Conqueror in that lot. And then, because this season is supposed to lead directly to that film, isn't it? I think read so. That somewhere. Yeah. So with seeing that would be nice. That would.
Yeah, and I also wanted to mention, I think it was one of the directors of this season.
Right.
He said 5 and 6 are the best episodes in his opinion, and he also said that war is coming.
Ooh.
Is the multiversal war coming back? And that's the Secret Wars is. Oh, the other thing, that explosion, I think it could be the reason incursions are happening too.
Oh, really?
Okay. Yeah, because you have all the timelines coming together. You have them colliding with each other.
Ah, of course, because that's how they'd merge and.
Yeah. So I think that could be also why incursions are a big thing coming going forward.
Fuck.
But yeah, that multiversal war thing, I think that's how this season's going to end. And then the small group of what's left of the TVA is going to have to, go around and try to find people.
I read somewhere that the TVA are going to have an impact as well on Deadpool 3, because they're going to go around and they're going to go around taking select strong people, and they're the ones building the team. Because I swear I heard somewhere something like Loki's going to be the Iron Man of this saga or something like that sort of thing, bringing people together and stuff like that sort of thing. That's how they're taking people from these different timelines and stuff like that sort of thing, which to me would be just really good. Now, it'd be nice to see have Loki as that figurehead, because you've only always seen him as this mischief manipulating sort of person. Now, after seeing this, after seeing this first season of Loki, as well as the second, he's sort of like, what's the word? Reforming himself and being that not good guy, but you know what I mean. Though that person that wants to show he has got.
He's trying to redeem himself to the other people.
Yeah, that's the word. Yeah. So yeah, that'd be damn.
Yeah, and I think because he was the first one to ever encounter a Kang variant, him going forward, carrying on that journey of trying to take him down, I think, is important for him.
Yeah, because he's seen what power can do. Obviously, with Thanos and that lot, and he watched himself bleeding, get killed and that lot. So to see it sort of happening again, but on a larger, more grander scale, god damn it. Yeah, that's nice.
So that's where I think the show's going at this point. And I really hope it really does escalate to the point where it becomes like, you guys need to lock in now or you're done.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be so good. That really would be good in that last sort of thing. The one thing that winds me up though with the DC, fucking hell, Marvel, is there's gonna be this again will connect to future films. When the next film coming out is Miss Marvel, the Marvel, sorry, and it's just, why can't they have like the old days where it connects to everything going forward? Why jump God knows how far ahead sort of thing? That's really great me sort of thing. Like, fantastic. I can't wait because it's going to connect to obviously Deadpool and then Kang Dynasty and stuff like that. Damn connections are going to be absolutely fantastic and mind-blowing. But then what's going to draw you into the next Marvel film, the Marvels?
Yeah, I don't see it doing well at the box office. It's going to be like The Flash and all the other superhero movies this year, except Guardians, where there's been, honestly, this one hasn't had much excitement around it, but I don't think it's going to be a hit for them. I don't even think they're going to make profit on it. I'm still seeing it. Like, I see it next week.
I've got it. I've got to see it. I can't not see it. Something.
I've got my tickets next Thursday, so I'm seeing that. But I've heard that there are ties to something in the Marvels. I don't know if you want to know in case it's a spoiler, but
no, I don't mind knowing. I don't mind knowing. What?
So apparently, there's going to be a really heavily influence on incursions in this movie.
Okay. Well, it makes sense for them always switching between places and stuff like that, sort of, and basically ripping holes in fabric and stuff like that, sort of thing.
Yeah, I think it's going to be something where Captain Marvel ends up, and is it Photon and Miss Marvel? They're going to be the ones kind of taking over, I guess, the space side of trying to assemble heroes, I think. But yeah, I've heard incursions are involved in the Marvels in some way.
Okay, I think that's a nice connection. Then I don't mind that. That makes sense, sort of thing. But, that's interesting.
That's kind of what I'm looking forward to in the Marvels, and seeing Miss Marvel again because I like her character. But
yeah, I've always said that Miss Marvel, seeing how the girl as well, that she is proper.
Yeah,
she's full on. She is like geek in oriented, and she knows these comics, especially in Miss Marvel as well, to the T. Bless her. I think that's brilliant. It's nice to have an actor that's so full in on it. And that's Red. So no, hang on. She's even going to Kevin Feige. He's like, no, we're not 616. We're like 1999. I thought that was so nice for her. That's so good. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing her again because she was just such a strong character, and I really enjoyed.
Perfect casting.
Yeah, again, exactly like that.
Yeah,
but no, I'm all good for that. Thank you very much.
Okay, Deadpool 3. I don't think it's going to be a big topic because we've already kind of touched on it. But I've seen the TVA, obviously, is going to have an involvement in it. I did see yesterday that, and I don't know if this is true, but it would be awesome. The TVA captures Deadpool because he's messing around with Cable's time travel thing at the end of Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
and they've already recruited Hugh Jackman's Wolverine as a hero. So Deadpool's gonna freak out like, "Hey, Wolverine, you're my best friend. What are you doing here?" And he's gonna break himself out and take Wolverine with him, and they're gonna go on their own adventure while the TVA is after them.
Trying to follow him along.
Yeah, but the other thing is that the TVA recruited Hugh Jackman because they're going after the prime versions of every hero to build up their team to fight all the Kangs.
I say I've heard that about they're going after the best of the best sort of thing. So that'd be really good. And so I think that's how they could draw in like the older ones from the X-Men series and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Building that team up to go and fight them, because that'd be nice. That'd be really nice, that sort of thing. And probably you'd have an incursion in that where you'd have like the Fox universe crumbling down.
Yeah.
That's why you see the Fox logo.
Yeah, the Fox universe obviously dies in that incursion.
Oh, so. Yeah. But yeah, that'd be nice. That would be really good now. So again, I've heard similar sort of stuff for that. So that'd be
Yeah, and I'm really interested to see if now this would break the internet and cause Spider-Man fans to be in a debate with each other. But if they bring Toby back and say he's the prime Spider-Man, everyone's gonna say, "No, it's Andrew. No, it's Tom. It's this guy."
I've seen like things like the Disney Studios and Marvel Studios want to bring Andrew Garfield back. So I don't know whether they're going to try and class him as the prime one, or like they're going to give him his third film, or what their sort of thing. But yeah, I've seen stuff about they really want to have Andrew back. I've not really heard much about Tom or Toby coming back, but I've heard big stuff about Andrew coming back out. So that would be, that would proper break the bleeding end. So that would be, I was like, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
It's this one. I was like, oh.
And Spider-Man fans hate each other on the internet. So so if you bring Toby back and say he's the prime one, a lot of them will agree, but then there's going to be all the ones that just only like Andrew or only like Tom that are going to fire back at Marvel Studios and say, hey, this is obviously the prime one right here. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, that would be so.
And then maybe that's how you bring Blade into it, Wesley Snipes.
Yeah. That would be nice. I've you know how much of a fan I was from Blade. Yeah. Damn. Yeah. That's nice.
So,
well, I enjoyed that. How brilliant that was. It was definitely gonna be a long one again, like you said. So I enjoyed that.
Yeah, very nice talk. So if you're gonna do your intro, I'll let you take the floor for that. Or outro.
Oh, yeah, well,
I say intro or outro?
Yeah. Yes, yeah. Right, well, yeah. Thank you very much, Ro. Thank you very much for having me on the live stream again. At least this time, I can say it wasn't my fault not pressing the wrong button. So I'm happy with that. I can deal with that. I can just put it on my channel later on. But yeah, thank you very much. Again, everybody, we had a viewer. I don't mind that we had a viewer. And I read some comments that were brilliant. Yeah, that's fine. That's all right. But yeah, thank you very much. Again, come and subscribe to my channel, Marvel Mad. Whoever's here still or knows the Nate's channel, go to Nate's channel. That lot, he's absolutely fantastic. Some of the brilliant topics again. Like always, Nate is the mind behind these live streams. That lot, he's got the intelligence and know-how way beyond me and that lot sort of thing. I'm just a silly old man here. That lot. So, but yeah, like, share, and subscribe. That lot. Come with us again. We'll have more stuff with our Nate as well. That lot again. By this time next week, touch wood, I'll have finished Spider-Man 2 and that lot. So we'll have a nice big discussion about that and everything like that, and some damn good notes on that sort of thing. But yeah, just like to say thank you very much. Again, thank you very much, Nate, for having me on. And
no problem.
See you all next time. See you all next time on another live stream or just another episode of Nate and Thwip Media or myself and Marvel Mad. So I'd just like to say thank you very much and goodbye to you all.